Okay, Chapter 6, The Selkie. "Wake up, lazy bones! You can't sleep all afternoon," said a friendly voice. Jack's eyes shot open. "Oh, no," he thought. "What time is it?" He sat up and looked around. The seals were gone, and standing over Jack and Annie was a barefoot boy with a happy, freckled face. "Teddy!" said Jack. For a moment he forgot all about the time. "Teddy, Teddy!" cried Annie. She leaped up and hugged the young sorcerer. Teddy grinned from ear to ear. He was wearing a brown tunic and his red hair was damp. "You're finally here," said Jack, laughing. "I've been here for some time," said Teddy. "Merlin sent me early this morning, and I was waiting for you on the beach when Kathleen came along and invited me to go for a swim with her." Teddy turned to a girl standing a little farther down the beach. Like Teddy, she looked to be about 13. "Kathleen," he called, "come meet my friends." There's them on the beach. The girl smiled and began walking over the rocks toward Annie, Jack, and Teddy. She wore a green dress that looked as if it had been woven from grass. Her hair fell in dark ringlets down to her waist like a dark waterfall. "These are my good friends, Jack and Annie," Teddy said to the girl. "They come from a faraway land." "Hello, Jack and Annie," the girl said in a bold, friendly voice. "I am very happy to meet you. My name is Kathleen." As she spoke, Kathleen's large eyes sparkled with the blue of the sky and water. Jack couldn't speak. Kathleen was the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. "I like your dress," said Annie. Kathleen laughed. "I wove it from seagrass," she said. "I'm not a very good weaver, I am sad to say." "Do you live here?" asked Annie. "I do," she said, "with my 19 sisters." "19 sisters?" said Annie. "Yes," said Kathleen, tossing back her long curls. "I am the youngest of all. We live in a cave up in the cliffs." "Cool," said Annie. "Is your cave like the cave of the Spider Queen?" "Oh, no, said Kathleen. "It's much more cheerful than Morag's cave." "So that's her name?" said Annie. "I'm worried that she might be lonely." "Oh, do not worry," said Kathleen. "Morag has many friends, bats, crabs, starfish. But it is kind of you to be concerned about her," she smiled. Kathleen's friendly manner finally gave Jack the courage to speak. He cleared his throat. "The water knight was really cool too," he said. "The water knight?" said Kathleen. "Yeah, the guy who carried us across the first cove." Kathleen looked puzzled. "His horse had a fish's tail," said Annie. "How strange," said Kathleen. "I often swim in that cove, but I've never heard or seen of such a knight." "Have you lived here a long time?" asked Annie. "Always," said Kathleen. "Kathleen is a Selkie," said Teddy. "A Selkie?" said Jack and Annie together. "Yes," said Kathleen. "You're in Merlin's rhyme," she said. "It says, 'Swim with a Selkie clothed in green.'" "Merlin's rhyme?" asked Teddy. "Merlin gave us a rhyme to help us find the Sword of Light," said Jack. The smile left Kathleen's face. Her beautiful eyes darkened. "You have come in search of the Sword of Light?" she asked. "Oh, dear." "What's wrong?" said Jack. "Many have passed through here seeking the Sword of Light," said Kathleen. "But as soon as anybody enters the cove beyond the jellyfish cave, terrible winter storms seem to burst out of nowhere. Even in the summer, the storms have icy wind and rain. No seekers of the sword have ever survived these gales." "Have you ever been to the cove across the jellyfish cave?" asked Jack. Kathleen shook her head. "My older sisters have always forbidden me to go there," she said. "In fact, no Selkie has ever dared swim in the Cove of the Stormy Coast." "Cove of the Stormy Coast?" said Annie. "That's the next line in Merlin's rhyme. Enter the Cove of the Stormy Coast." "What is Merlin's rhyme?" asked Teddy. "Here," said Jack, "look." He handed the seashell to Teddy. The boy quickly read Merlin's poem and rhyme, and he looked at the sky. "The sun moves on," he said. "Let us make haste. We must find the sword before nightfall, or some day Arthur will meet his doom." "Wait a minute," said Annie. She looked at Kathleen. "The rhyme says we're supposed to swim with you. Will you come with us?" Kathleen looked at them for a long moment, and then she stood up and tossed her curls back. Her eyes were bright. "I have always wanted to explore that cove," she said. Hooray, said Teddy. You will be the first Selkie to do so. A grand adventure awaits us all. Onward. Hold on, said Jack. What about that jellyfish cave? You need not worry about the jellyfish, said Kathleen. They cannot harm us. They cannot? Asked Jack. No, said the Selkie. Not if we all change into seals.